As they walked back through the forest, Silver Guardian beside her, Alita felt a sense of calm she had never known before. The once dark and frightening woods now felt full of life. The animals she had once feared, like the wolves and the owls, no longer seemed so threatening. In fact, they seemed to greet her, nodding their heads or chirping happily as she passed by. "You did a wonderful thing, Alita," Silver Guardian said, his voice full of respect. "The forest has been waiting for someone like you." Alita smiled up at him. "I couldn't have done it without you. You were the one who helped me see the truth." Silver Guardian chuckled softly. "Perhaps, but it was your heart that changed everything." As they walked, Alita noticed something beautiful. Flowers, which had once been closed up, were now blooming as if welcoming the new guardian. Birds flew overhead, chirping songs of joy. The whole forest seemed to come alive again, and Alita knew it was because of the kindness she had shown. Eventually, they reached the edge of the forest, where the village stood in the distance. Alita could see the lights of the cottages glowing warmly in the night. She turned to Silver Guardian, her heart full of excitement. "You're going to help the village too, right?" she asked. Silver Guardian looked at her, his eyes full of understanding. "Yes," he said, "I will protect you and your village. I will always be here for you." Alita smiled, feeling like a new chapter was just beginning in both her life and the forests. When they arrived at the village, Alita and Silver Guardian were met with stunned silence. The villagers were gathered around, their eyes wide as they saw the magnificent wolf by Alita's side. They had feared the shadow wolf, but now they saw something different. They saw a beautiful, majestic creature, a guardian who would protect them. Alita smiled at the villagers, her heart swelling with pride. "This is Silver, the guardian of the forest," she announced. "He is no longer a creature of fear. He's our protector." The villagers slowly stepped forward, their fear replaced with awe. Gwen, the little girl who had been so scared before, ran up to Alita with wide eyes. "Is it really him?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. Alita nodded. "Yes. Silver is kind, and he's here to protect us all." Silver Guardian bowed his head slightly, his eyes warm and friendly. "Hello, Gwen. It's nice to meet you," he said, his voice gentle. Gwen giggled with joy, her fear completely gone. "You're beautiful," she exclaimed. "Thank you for protecting us." The villagers began to clap and cheer. Their fear turned into joy. They had feared the shadow wolf, but now they saw that he was their friend, their protector. Silver Guardian stood proudly, his eyes filled with gratitude and peace. Alita felt a sense of happiness she had never known before. The village, the forest, and even Silver Guardian had changed. All it had taken was kindness and courage. She knew that this was just the beginning of something wonderful. From that day on, Silver became a beloved part of the village. He was no longer the feared creature who once haunted the woods, but instead, he was their protector. The villagers no longer saw him as the Shadow Wolf, but as Silver, the guardian who had saved them all. Alita spent her days with Silver, exploring the forest together. They helped the animals in need, cleaned the streams, and made sure the trees were healthy. Silver's presence in the forest had brought peace to the land. The once dark woods now felt alive with light and happiness. One sunny afternoon, Alita and Silver walked through the forest, listening to the birds sing and watching the flowers bloom. As they came to a small clearing, they heard a soft cry. Alita's heart skipped a beat as she looked around. "Do you hear that?" she asked, her eyes scanning the trees. Silver nodded, his ears twitching. "It's coming from over there," he said, pointing with his nose toward a thick bush. They rushed toward the sound, and when they reached the bush, they saw a family of rabbits huddled together. The mother rabbit was pacing nervously, while the baby rabbits were crying softly. One of the little ones was stuck in the thorns, its tiny body trapped and struggling. "Oh no!" Alita cried, her heart aching for the baby rabbit. "We need to help them." Silver stepped forward, his large paws gentle as he used his teeth to carefully pull apart the thorns. With a few swift movements, he freed the baby rabbit, who hopped out of the bushes and into the safety of its mother's arms. The mother rabbit looked up at them, her eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you," she cried, her voice trembling with relief. "You've saved my baby." Alita smiled warmly at the rabbits. "We're glad we could help," she said. "Is everyone okay?" The mother rabbit nodded, her eyes shining with happiness. "Yes, we are. Thank you again for your kindness." Silver stood proudly beside Alita, his tail wagging slightly. "It's nothing," he said with a smile. "We're happy to help." As they watched the rabbits hop away, Alita felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was what it meant to be a protector, to help those in need, no matter how small or big the task. She knew that with Silver by her side, they could make the forest a better place for everyone. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Alita and Silver walked back toward the village. The sound of laughter and chatter filled the air as the villagers celebrated the return of their guardian. The fear that had once surrounded the Shadow Wolf was now replaced with a deep sense of trust and admiration. When they reached the village, the children ran up to greet them, their faces bright with excitement. Gwen, who had been so afraid of the wolf before, was the first to run up to Alita. "Alita, you're back!" Gwen exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "What happened in the forest? Did you really help Silver?" Alita knelt down to Gwen's level, smiling brightly. "Yes, I helped Silver. He was lost, but now he's free again. He's the guardian of the forest, and he's here to protect us all." Gwen's eyes sparkled with amazement. "You're so brave, Alita. I want to meet Silver. Can I?" Alita smiled and nodded, turning to Silver. "Silver, this is Gwen. She's my friend." Silver lowered his head, his eyes softening as he looked at the little girl. "Hello, Gwen. It's nice to meet you," he said warmly. Gwen giggled with delight. "You're so big and strong," she said. "Thank you for protecting us." Silver smiled, his tail wagging gently. "It's my pleasure, Gwen. I will always protect you and this village." The villagers gathered around, their faces filled with awe and admiration. They had once feared the shadow wolf, but now they saw the truth. Silver was their friend, and he would always be there to keep them safe. Alita's heart swelled with pride. She had helped Silver break the curse, and now, together, they were a team, protecting the forest and the village. She knew that their friendship would grow stronger every day, and that they would face whatever challenges came their way, together. The days passed, and the village of Willow Woods flourished. With Silver guarding the forest, the villagers worked together to care for the land, plant more trees, and protect the animals. They had learned to embrace kindness and to help one another, just as Alita had taught them. Alita often went on adventures with Silver, exploring the deep parts of the forest and helping the creatures who lived there. They were a team, and together, they made the forest a safer and happier place. One day, while they were walking through the woods, they came across a family of squirrels who were having trouble with their home. A strong wind had blown down a tree, causing their nest to fall. The little squirrels were too scared to climb back up and rebuild. Alita's heart went out to them. "Don't worry," she said softly. "We'll help you." Silver stepped forward, using his strong paws to lift the fallen tree with ease. He carefully moved it aside, clearing the path for the squirrels. Alita then helped the little creatures rebuild their nest, using soft twigs and leaves to make it safe again. The mother squirrel looked up at them, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you so much," she said. "You've saved our home." Alita smiled, feeling a deep sense of happiness. "It was nothing," she said. "We're just glad to help." As Silver and Alita walked back to the village, the sounds of nature filled the air. The animals were at peace, the trees stood tall and strong, and the village was thriving. The bond between Alita, Silver, and the villagers had made the forest and the village a better place for all. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars began to twinkle, Alita stood with Silver on the edge of the forest. The village lights flickered in the distance, and the night was peaceful. Alita looked up at Silver, her heart full of gratitude. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Silver nodded, his eyes soft and full of warmth. "Yes, we have, and together we'll continue to protect this forest and everyone in it." Alita smiled. "And we'll always be friends, won't we?" Silver lowered his head, nudging her gently with his nose. "Always." The two stood side by side, looking out over the peaceful village, knowing that their friendship and their journey had only just begun.